Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be starting our physics class, and I hope that we are ready for today's class. And for those of us in the WhatsApp group, we've already shared the schedule for today's class. So I'm going to be starting immediately, and you can always let me know that you want to join the meet in the WhatsApp chat so that I'll let you in. So without wasting much time, we're going to be looking at the concept of physics, and we're going to be looking at physics in real life. We're going to be looking at measurements, the units, and their various, the derived units and the fundamental units. So basically, we are going to be looking at introduction to physics today, so that from there we can continue. So what is physics? Physics is a pure science that deals with the behavior of matter and energy and how it relates to other physical properties. So, that very pure science that helps you understand the behavior of matter and energy. So, what is matter and energy? How do you notice physics when you see them in real life? Like your normal car, what makes the car to move from one point to the other? That is physics. So your knowledge of physics will help you understand when a car moves from one place to the other. What are the mechanisms? What are the things involved in getting a car from one point to the other? Then when you're looking at things like lightning, before rains, when rain wants to fall and there's these lightning, thunder and lightning, all those things that happen in nature has a lot to do with physics. You also look at your thermometer. If you want to get your body temperature, you're sick, you go to the hospital. So what is the working mechanism of the thermometer that will help the person using it to know that your temperature is high or low? That is physics. Now you want to use your camera, like your phone camera, to capture pictures. What knowledge do those people that built or the people that manufacture the camera, what knowledge do they have? That is physics. So in your course of learning physics, you're going to know the principles that are behind all these things. You're going to be able to understand them much better. So physics is that pure science that deals with the behavior of matter and energy and how it relates to other physical properties. So I'm going to quickly put us through the measurement, introduce measurement to us. Now, physical quantities are those quantities that you measure, and they are very, very important in you understanding physics. Uh, if you want to say that something is bigger than another thing, you have to find a way of quantifying or explaining how big the other one is that made you think that this other one is actually bigger. So let's say your height. So how do you know that you're taller than another person apart from just looking at the person? If you take the measurement of the height of that person, you can be able to say that yes, this person is taller than this other person. So that is measurement. Without measurement, you cannot be able to quantify a quantity. So you have to take measurements. So there are three fundamental quantities that you need to measure in physics for you to get in. So number one is length, and the unit of length is meter. So you can see the three quantities here. You have the length, mass, and time. And in physics, we call them the fundamental quantities because they are the basic quantities that other quantities depend on. So you have your length, you have your mass, you have your time. So length has the unit of meters, mass has the unit of kilograms, and time has the unit of seconds. So from these basic units, you get what we call the derived units. So these quantities, we need to measure them in order for us to have a graph of how big they are.
Monthly.
Yes.
So that arrow would have worked now.
Alamin, please put yourself on mute. You're disturbing the class. Alamin,
Madam, you no get space.
Alamin, can you put yourself on mute? Okay, so let's continue. So you have the two major types of quantities in physics. You have the fundamental quantities, which are basic quantities, from where you have get the derived quantities. So the three major ones and the ones that you should know are the length, mass, and time. So length, the unit for length is meters, the unit for mass is kilogram, and the unit for time is seconds. We also have other quantities like the thermodynamic temperature and amount of substances. So, but we'll also look at those later. But the three basic fundamental quantities that you should know for a start is length, mass, and time. Okay, then we also have the derived quantities, which are actually quantities that are obtained from combining two or more fundamental quantities. Very good example of derived
Yes,
quantities.
sir.
Alamin, please, I just muted you. If you join again, don't unmute yourself. You're disturbing the class. Okay, so we'll get the derived quantities from the fundamental quantity, and I'm going to explain how we do that. So this is a chart that shows the derived quantities, their definitions, and their basic interpretation. So say velocity. Velocity is gotten from displacement and time by just dividing displacement over time. Now, area, we all know area is length times width. So later in the class, we're going to be learning about dimensions. And we'll learn that dimensions are actually gotten from the basic quantities by simply expressing the quantity you're looking at in terms of the dimensions of the basic quantities. So say velocity is displacement over time, and we know that displacement is simply length. So you can say that velocity is the same as length over time. Then area is the same as length times width, and length times width is simply length times length, because width is also expressed as length. Yeah, Victoria and Alamin, please, if you're once you're joining the class, don't make noise. Make sure you put yourself on mute so that you don't disturb other people. Um, so let's look at another derived quantity, acceleration. Acceleration is expressed as velocity over time. And we already know that velocity is length over time because velocity is distance over time. So if you divide distance over time by another time, you're going to be getting length or distance over t squared, which you can also put in form of LT to power minus 2. So this is actually the dimensional representation of analysis. Okay, so there are other derived quantities like force, and force is mass times acceleration, and work is force times distance. So you can see that every of these derived quantities are actually gotten from the fundamental quantities. You are supposed to understand how to do that basically. Okay, so I'm gonna be asking us some questions now, so that I get to know what you've gotten and what you've not gotten, so that we can continue from there. So the three basic things we looked at yet is the definition of physics, and we said that physics is a pure science that deals with the behavior of matter and energy and how it relates to other physical quantities. And we said that physics in life could be seen in driving, in lightning, in the working principle of the thermometer and camera. And we went on to look at measurement, and we said that we measure in order to ascertain the size of a quantity. And these quantities we are measuring could either be fundamental quantities or derived quantities. And the fundamental quantities are the basic ones from where you can get the derived quantities. Very good examples are length, mass, and time. Though we also have them, we also have mole or amount of a substance. Then we have the derived quantities where we have velocity, acceleration, and the rest of them. And we also stated how we can get the derived quantities from the basic quantities. So I think I'll be asking questions now. Victoria, how are you? Can you hear me? Victoria, can you hear me? Please, if you cannot hear me, just drop a chat on the WhatsApp so that I will know your situation. Alamin, can you hear me now? Okay. Yeah, Victoria, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, good evening.
Okay. So, you joined late. Why did you join late, Victoria?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was outside doing something there as well.
Okay, so did you get the concepts that were explained?
No,
Okay, so we started with the definition of physics. So we said
okay.
that physics is the pure science that deals with the behavior of matter, energy, and how it relates to other physical quantities. And we also gave examples of physics in life. Can you see the write up on the board?
No, it's not showing.
Oh, it's not showing.
Yes.
Oh. Sorry, I didn't share my screen on this other one.
Okay.
Just confirm to me that you can see the screen now once you're
Yeah,
able
yeah,
to
I can
see.
see it now. Yeah.
You can see it now, bro. Okay.
Yes.
So you can see the definition of physics on the board, the way I wrote it. Can you see it?
Yes.
Can you see
Yes.
examples?
Yes.
Can you see examples of physics in life?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Can you mention them to me?
Lighting, thermometer, something else. Camera.
Thermometer and camera. Okay.
Yeah.
So those are if you want to be able to understand how a camera is built, how it works, how a thermometer is built, how it works,
And
what
driving.
causes lightning, how the motor vehicle moves, you need to understand physics. You understand now?
Yeah.
Okay. So we say that physics is a pure science that deals with the behavior of matter. We want to understand how matter behaves. Matter is simply anything that has mass and can occupy space. So that includes the coin you're holding in your hand. If you throw your coin up, what makes it to go up and at some certain time it starts coming down? The gravitational pull on it. You need to understand what happens, why the coin is moving at the speed at which it's moving, why it is slowing down and the rest of them. So all those are things that you cover in physics. Are you clear on that?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so you've understood the definition, then you've understood examples of physics in life. Then the next thing we looked at is measurement. So
Okay.
we want to understand if you're going to be saying that this car moves faster than this other car, you need to be able to measure their speed, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you say that you're taller than your younger brother, you need to be able to, if somebody is not looking at you and your younger brother at the moment, and maybe I'm here, then you're telling me that you're taller than your younger brother, I will not know how tall you are. But if you tell me that you're 6 feet tall and your younger brother is 4 feet tall, then I should be able to know that you that is 6 feet, you're actually taller than him that is 4 feet. Do you see why we need to be measuring now? Victoria, do you understand why we should be measuring now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr.
Uh-huh.
Sir. Yes, sir.
So with that quantity attached, I'm able to differentiate who is taller than who. So that is why you measure. So to measure length, what do you think you use in measuring length?
Lens. We use meter.
Meter rule. So we're going to be learning that in the next class. You understand? But I want you to understand why you measure. You need to measure these quantities because you need to know how, you need to get a clue of their magnitude. Now, there are two types of these quantities. We will call one fundamental quantities and the other one derived quantities. So fundamental quantities are the basic quantities. You just have to know them because from them you can get the derived quantities. And three of them are very basic and those three you just have to know them. So you have length, you have mass, and you have time. These are fundamental quantities, and they have their units. Their units will help you to identify them when you see them. So for length, we have mass, we have meters. For mass, we have kilogram, and for time, we have seconds. So are you clear on these fundamental quantities?
Yeah.
Okay. We also have thermodynamic temperature and amount of substance, but we'll still look at those. Then we have what we call derived quantities. So these derived quantities, we actually get them from combining the fundamental quantities by either subtraction, by either multiplication or division. So we're going to look at examples of the derived quantities. So we have what we call the acceleration, we have velocity, we have other ones. So derived quantities are actually gotten from fundamental quantities by either multiplication or division. So do you understand what derived quantities are now?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's look at example of how we got to a derived quantity from a fundamental quantity. So let's say velocity. Velocity is simply displacement over time. And displacement is the same thing as distance, only that you are talking about distance in a specific direction. So distance is the same thing as L, which is length. And you know that length is a basic quantity. So all over time. So you have this derived quantity velocity being gotten from the fundamental quantities of length divided by time. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then this is another derived quantity. So this is area, and area is length times width. Now width is also a length. So you can, instead of saying length times width, you can say length times length. So you are now having length squared, which is area. So you can see from this basic fundamental quantity, we are getting this derived quantity area. Is it clear? Okay. Then we have acceleration, which is velocity over time. We already see the relationship for velocity. So we're dividing it by an extra time. So we have now L over T squared. Then we have other ones like force, work, And so when you look at them, you see that they are basically gotten from the fundamental quantities, and that's why we say the fundamental quantities, you combine them through division or multiplication in order to get the derived quantities. Are you clear on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is where we're going to be stopping. Today is just introductory class. Uh, in the WhatsApp group, I'm going to share a video that has all this lecture, pre-recorded video that have them. So, and I'm going to give assignments now. So, can you take down the assignments? Alamein, you take down the assignments also. And I've already told us how we'll be submitting the assignments. You just write on your paper and snap and send it to the WhatsApp. Then I'll mark it.
Okay.
Okay. So the first assignment is you can just watch this video again. I'm going to share this video on the WhatsApp so that you can watch and see the concepts where you are going to get the answers to the assignments from. Number one, define physics. Victoria, you're writing down, bro?
Yes.
Okay. So number one is, what is physics? I hope you saw the Excel sheet that has your names, where I'll be putting the marks for your continuous assessment. So every day I give assignments. I'll be putting your score there, and anybody that is not making up, will be removing the person from the group. Very, very important. We'll sanction everybody. So make sure you're doing the right things. Have you gotten the first question?
Yes.
So give 4 examples of physics in real life. 4 examples of physics in real life. That's number 2. 4 examples of physics in real life. Is it gotten?
Yes.
Okay. Number 3. What is measurement? What is measurement? And why do we measure? Number 3. What is measurement and why do we measure? Have you gotten that?
Yes.
Number 4. What are explain fundamental quantities with examples and derived quantities with examples.
Sorry?
Explain fundamental quantities with examples and derived quantities with examples. Is it clear?
Yes.
Hmm?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll be expecting the answers. Somebody just joined again. Winnie. Winnie, can you unmute yourself and talk? Winnie Mark, can you hear me? Okay, so do the assignment and submit on WhatsApp. Then we'll take it out from there. So please, the time for the classes is always 6 p.m. We are not going to be allowing so much time after starting, and it's always good to join the meet before the time so that I will not be leaving the classes to allow you to join. Very importantly, I'll be sharing the link to the full lectures so that if you did not follow effectively, you'll be able to see other things. Make sure you're getting down notes in order to help you in doing the assignments. And if you're in the WhatsApp group and you've not submitted your names, make sure you do that so that I can be able to mark your assignments and assign you your marks the way they should be done. Okay, so if you have questions, make sure you drop them on the WhatsApp chat as well. So before we round up, do we have questions? Okay. So I'll be stopping here and I'll be expecting your answers on the WhatsApp.